It is my 1-year anniversary of being on YouTube. That is so hard to believe. When I started doing this, I didn't know if I would continue past the first or second one. And so I just want to thank all of you who are my subscribers that have stuck with me as I kind of bumbled my way through the first year, especially with my video editing and all that kind of stuff that's going on. We've got a lot of new subscribers as well, so welcome to our knitting group. And I do think of us as a bunch of friends that just knit and chat and bounce ideas off of each other. So we're having a great time. I'm having a lot of fun. We have a giveaway announcement at the end of the podcast today for the stitch markers to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. So let's jump in and get started. I got a lot of things to cover today. So finished objects, I have none. I'm done with the dishcloths, so we have no dishcloths. Yay! I'm so sick of dishcloths. I've got enough dishcloths that I could do them for a year and not have to wash my dishcloth at this point. So I'm like totally done. So, but I've got lots of works in progress going on though. The first one is my car knitting. This is with the Katia paint. It's starting, I've got yarn barf coming out here. But anyway, it is the Katia paint. This is color number 53. It's kind of, you can see autumn colors. So I am in the gold color right here. I seem to be stuck on gold lately. But anyway, yeah, because if you look at my works in progress, you're going to notice a reoccurring theme of this color. It's just, I didn't plan it that way. I don't know what is going on. This is like 1970s antique gold. Yeah, I was a kid in the 70s, but our carpet in our house was shag carpet, this color, when I was growing up. Anyway, this is a patterned shawl. It's actually a free pattern that you can get on Katia.com. It's for the poncho. They also have a like a scarf or small shawl pattern that only requires one of these. This I think I've got a price on here somewhere, $18. And it requires, to make the poncho, it requires 2. You just do it till this ball runs out, and then you make the other side until that ball runs out, and you need to connect them together. So, and it's an asymmetrical poncho. So it will have, and you only attach like at the shoulder, so you have where the sleeves drop down, where the arms would drop down, I guess, because it doesn't have sleeves. It's kind of split open. So I just thought it was kind of unique. And it is asymmetrical. I've had lots of meetings this week, and so and lots of car riding, and my husband drives. So I've been knitting a bit. This is where I was last week. Here's the beginning. It starts in the charcoal, and then goes to this lighter charcoal, and then this is kind of a tannish gold. It's pretty true to color here. And then it goes up to the antique gold. If you can see, this is actually technically what they call the right side, but I think what it really is this is the side you knit the pattern on, but this looks more like the actual right side. I think it's prettier. Now you may be going, this is a really odd shaped poncho if it's going to go this way, but it's not. It actually goes this direction. So here's the narrow end, and then it's going to come across. This is the side I'm working on right now. So, yeah. So if I can stand up a little bit so you can see it better. There we go. So, I like it. It's a very easy pattern. I don't have to carry a pattern with me. I've got it pretty much memorized because it's only a couple of row pattern. Now, that's my one project going on. My design shawl, once again, there's that color. Yes, like I said, everything, 3 of the projects I'm working on have the same color in them. So this is the design shawl, and where's my stitch marker? Here's my little stitch marker. It's a tiny little, real lightweight one, and it kind of blends in because I didn't want anything that's going to pull the lace. So you can see, where'd it go? There it is. This is where I was last week on it, and I'm up to here. I was going to do this next section in an even more open lace, but I started doing that and I didn't think it looked kind of balanced. So I am doing kind of a elongated basket weave. If you can see that there. And this again is going to be an asymmetrical shawl that is actually going to go this direction when it's done. So this is it so far. And if you would like to win a chance to win a free pattern of this, free copy of the pattern, if you have any ideas for the name, just leave it in the comments box down below and you will be entered. And if I choose your name for the pattern, you will get a free copy of the pattern. So yeah, that's where we are with this one so far. And a lot of people are basing it on the colors. You don't need to necessarily base it on the colors because you could do this in any color that you wanted to. So yeah, it's going to be basically a lot of lace in this pattern and some wavy ruffly things at the bottom, I think. I'm not sure. I'm kind of going along. I'm inventing as I go. So that is my design shawl pattern. So I've been working on that. Then I have been working on my On the Spice Market. I took this to knit night. Somebody asked me one of my questions, do I go to a knitting night at my local yarn store? And yes, I do. I have it on Tuesday nights from 7 to 9 o'clock. And there's usually anywhere from 4 to 8 people there. It's fairly small, which is nice because you get to kind of chat and everybody looks at their different projects they're working on and kind of help each other out with questions and stuff. So I'm using these little, they're supposed to be point protectors. I'm using them to hold my stitches because I thought it just kind of worked really great. And I included 2 of these, except these are on really tight. I included 2 of these with the stitch marker prize. So there's actually, they're for a little bit bigger knitting needle. These are like really small. So these are actually part of the prize. They fit more like for your worsted weight. And I guess you could use them for crochet hooks too. You could just tuck them in. But they're supposed to be for knitting needles for point protectors, but I'm using them to hold the stitches on. So this is my On the Spice Market, which I'm only doing with 2 colors because it's a variegated color. So it starts here with kind of the purple, and it goes up through some darker purple, and then it goes into some black with the variegated, like in these little bobble stitches. I like doing the little bobble stitches. They're kind of fun, and those rows really, really go fast. So I kind of think it looks like a stained glass window. I like the black background, and this yarn I'm using, this is all I have left of the first skein. I've got a bunch of these. I think I've got like 8 or 9 of them. I bought them at a yarn sale for I think $2 a piece, and so I grabbed a bunch. They are so soft, and they're actually made out of sugarcane fiber. So, and they're not thready. I mean, they're knitting really well, but they're so silky. I really like knitting with the sugarcane. So that's what the black background is. And some of the variegated that is in this actually has a real dark purple that almost goes to black. So I am cutting that section out when I get to it because the pattern doesn't show up between the black and the real dark purpley black. You can't see the patterns or the stitches at all. So when I get to that, I cut it out because otherwise it'd just be a little too overwhelming. And like I said, you wouldn't see the pattern stuff. So you can see where I was last week. I was right here, and I'm up to here. So I knit about 1.5 inches going across, and I think my stitches right now I'm close to 100 going across. So that is my On the Spice Market. It is by Melanie Berg. The last one I did of this I did in like pinks and purples and a gray background, and it's a heavier yarn, so it's actually a lot warmer. This one's pretty lightweight. It's almost a light fingering. It's not lace weight, but it's definitely lighter than a sock weight. So it's going to be a little bit It's just a little bit lighter than the other one. Then I've been working on my sweater, and if you remember, I had to re-knit the whole front, and I did that for last week's episode because I got the front off. I misread what they were saying on the pattern. So this week I had picked up the provisional cast on, which is to do, there's a front, there's a back, and there's a panel that goes like under your arm between the front and the back. So I finished that, and again we have the 1970s colors. So here is, you can't see the panel that was knitted in the back because of that provisional cast on, but here is the center seam, and it's 4 inches going out on either side is where that is where the center panel is. But like I said, with the provisional cast on, you really can't tell. I mean, I can just vaguely tell that it was right here, just because I could tell looking at my stitches. But that is the underarm section. So what I have got on right here, this is the sleeve. So if you can see, here's the yoke. If I stick it on my shoulder, you get a better idea. Okay, here's the front. Here's the bodice. This is the sleeve. There's my fingers. This is a very short sleeve right now. I'm doing this on circular needles just because it's going to go faster than doing magic loops. So I think these are 12-inch or 16-inch needles. They're not 9-inch. And they're slightly bigger than what I knitted the body with, but not by much. And this is very dense. It's a heavy worsted. It's a scratchy worsted. I mean, it's not going to feel horrible against my skin or anything, but it's not as soft as this. And this was that yarn that I got in the Knitology box month before last, that I really didn't care much for. But it's okay with this. I mean, I think with this color gold, it looks fine, but it's not something I would have picked out on my own, but it is very, very soft. So, the sleeves are going to come down in this, but not knit as densely. I want them just a little bit more open, and if I have enough of the yarn left over, I have to do the button bands yet that will go up the front. And so hopefully I will get this sleeve done this week, and then I will start on the other one. Where is it at? Over here, where I have to do the side and the front to this piece. So this is the right side. So it's hard to explain this with this being all bunched up and trying to explain it to you, but yeah. So maybe if I think about it, I will try to insert some pictures. That might be the easiest way to do this. So we'll see. If I can do that, I'll stick some pictures in. All right, on to the next project, and this is my Drachenfels. This is also by Melanie Berg, and it's not gold. So this is purple, and this is extremely soft because this purple was some yarn that I won from Must Love Yarn, and I think it's got, if I remember rightly, it's got alpaca. I know it's got alpaca in it. I started to say it's got cashmere. It's not cashmere, it's alpaca, and it is extremely soft. So it starts here. Again, it's asymmetrical. I'm on an asymmetrical kick apparently too, as well as being on a gold kick. So you can see I haven't done a whole lot with this one this week, but I have done a little bit. And this is the purple that I'm using. And then the speckled parts that you can see here are being done with this. And then there's this purple as well. And wait till you get to the acquisitions, because what's really funny is I got a knit crate. I got my new knit crate box. It goes with this perfectly. I'll show you when I get to that section. But it was just funny. I looked at it and went, oh, wow. I could make the shawl bigger if I wanted. It would just blend in just fine. So with that, I have a couple other things. That's all the works in progress I have going on. But I wanted to bounce some ideas off of you guys. I have been fooling around with some ideas of doing a basic knitting tutorial series. Like maybe the first, set up like little knitting lessons, but maybe the first one talking about tools of the trade and the different weights of yarn, and then maybe lesson 2 teaching cast on, and lesson 3 doing like your basic knitting stitch and purl stitch, and just your basic things, how to cast off. So if you think that would be a good idea, give me a thumbs up, okay? Then I have another idea. I've had 2 different people in the last 2 weeks talk to me. One person, not on YouTube, it was just somebody I was over their house, and they were like, do you do lessons on how to knit socks? And I was like, no, I haven't. And then I had somebody else say, I forget which one of my subscribers it was, but one of them made a comment about had I ever thought about doing a sock tutorial. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to do this other set. I mean, it might not be till after Christmas, because with Christmas coming up and all of us doing holiday knitting, it might not be the best time. But maybe right after Christmas, what would you all think if we did a sock along together, where each week I would do like a tutorial for that section, like the cuffs, and then all of us would do the same pattern. We'd all get it. I would pick a free pattern. Actually, I'm looking at some free patterns on Ravelry, so I'd probably pick between 2 or 3 patterns and then throw it out there and let you all decide by majority vote which pattern we want to do. And we get all of our supplies, and then each week we would be knitting it together, and I would show you the next part of the sock to knit, and then during the week we'd knit it together. And I just got to thinking it might be kind of fun, because then during the week I could post pictures on my Ravelry group about my progress, and you guys could post pictures on Ravelry of the progress that you're making, and we'd just kind of all be making the same pair of socks together. So if you think you would like to do that, leave a comment down below, and if you have any ideas for that we could do along with it, like if you know any free sock patterns that we could do. So far I have looked at the blueberry waffle sock, and I've looked at the Mercury socks, both of which are free patterns. So, and I think the Hermione's Everyday sock is also a free pattern. I have to look into it. And then there's always just vanilla socks which have no pattern. They're just pretty much straight plain socks. So if you have ideas for a free pattern, or you think it'd be a great idea to do this, or just any input that you would think, stick it down in the comments below, and then we will look at maybe doing this after Christmas. Like I said, we'll get all the chaos over with Christmas and holiday knitting, and then we'll think about doing this. But I want to plan it ahead of time, so just let me know what your thoughts are down below. Okay, now somebody had asked, I think it was Yoka had asked that I do a craft room tutorial, and she and I got to laughing because I said, yeah, but I've got to clean the craft room first, and she told me that messy craft rooms just symbolized ideas. And I said, well, I've got lots of ideas if that's the case, and a few dust bunnies to boot too. So I did clean up my craft room. Not that it doesn't get like dirty, but when I do my podcasts, I lay everything out on the bed in the order I'm going to use it. And then sometimes I get lazy and I don't put it back, and I just kind of toss it up on the shelf, or it gets left in a heap on the bed. And I am going to insert a picture of what it looks like before I do the craft room tour. You're going to see what the bedroom looked like before I went and straightened it all up. So what you're going to see in a couple minutes, I'm going to insert it, is a tour of my craft room now that it's cleaned up. Actually, I show it to you before it's cleaned up too, so you kind of know what I did to it. And you will also see my stash of yarn, because somebody else had asked, did I have a large stash of yarn? And it's kind of a moderate size. It's growing, but Yeah, I don't know how it's sort of like rabbits. It just keeps multiplying. I put yarn skeins on the shelf and more appear. So yeah. Oh well, that's a good problem to have. So yeah, so you're going to see my yarn stash as well as a tour of my craft room. So I'm gonna flip that on now, and then afterwards, stay tuned because we're gonna do our giveaway announcement, and I have a couple of magazine reviews that I've run across that are pretty cool, and we're gonna have our giveaway winner, and I won something too, so I'm gonna share that with you too. So stay tuned and come back after the craft tour. Alright, before I get started, I've got to show you the utter chaos that is the craft room. This is the upstairs bedroom. There's my sewing machine stuff. That is my table, also known as the spare bed, where everything's piled on it. That is my fiber stuff. I have more downstairs by my spinning wheel. And then, so we can get it out of the light here, this is the mess I'm going to be organizing. There's all my knitting books. And here is the yarn stash at this point. And it desperately needs organizing because things are tumbling off onto the floor. I had an avalanche of yarn the other day and had to fix it. Then over here we have a closet where I get attacked by the gift wrap. Every time I open it up, it flies. And then I've got my tub of shame right there on the right. This over here is fabric. That is extra fabric that I had no space for, and I tossed it up there. There's my blocking cushions, also known as children's puzzle blocks that work for the same reason. Then I have some drawer things here. And this tub right here is yarn that is used for doing like some embroidery I'm saving, and some additional fabric. And over here, miscellaneous drawers. That holds a lot of my knitting needles and things. And down here, this is cross stitch, which I haven't done for a while. That's the floss for it. That down below here is a big box of baby yarn somebody gave me. And next to that over here is my jewelry making supplies, and this is my quilt hoop. And there's a bunch of project bags that have fallen on the floor. And then this tub over here, it's a pretzel tub. You know, like pretzels come in it. It's, so I can show it to you a little better. There. Lay it on its side. There you go. It held cheese balls. Anyway, it now holds leftover yarn balls of worsted weight yarn, because eventually I'm going to weave those together in a blanket. So anytime I have worsted weight leftovers, they go in there. So now to organize this disaster. This is my stash, all organized out on the bed. There is some kind of order to this. Everything over here are lace weights. The center here are sock and fingering weights. Up towards the top, along the top of the bed, that's all worsted weight. And then over here is some novelty yarn. So, and I don't have out my doily weight yarns. those are just going to stay in the bin because I don't get them out very often. So, and it's funny when you start putting things together, what you discover goes with each other. For instance, I had bought these a while back. They're sparkly. See if I can get them in there. Here, they're gray and they sparkle. And I was going to do another Yexa shawl with them. Then I found out I had this in my novelty yarns, which is also sparkly. So they're going to go well together. And there's some other things I found out that would go good together. I got one of these on vacation. And then this is some that I hand dyed. But together, the dark blue that I have in mine goes with the blue that's in this. So I discovered that was going to go together. And then, if you remember, I bought these. These are hedgehog fibers. I'm going to stand in the light, so hopefully you can... No, that totally blew it out. There we go a little bit. They have kind of pink. This one is pink with some speckles in it. I'll try to take pictures, they'll look better. But anyway, there it is. Then I realized I had this yarn, which has the same exact color pink in it. Pretty much the same weight yarn and everything. And if I want to add a third color or a fourth color in there, there is a lighter gray. So I found out those were going to go together. Then I discovered I bought these two worsted weight. I have no idea when, but they are the same colorway, they just don't look it. But this purple color right here actually matches this yarn here. If I get my hand out of the way, there you can see it. Same weight and everything. So it's funny when you start putting things together what you realize other things go with. I have some hand spun stuff down here. These are some I have several balls of these. These are lace weight that I've spun. I might twine them together or ply them together so that it's a little thicker since I don't need any lace weight yarn. But I've got like 6 balls of it. Like here's another one. So I might put those together. This is some hand spun that I had. This is some that was in my Etsy shop that I dyed, but it's lace weight. So I actually might ply some of those together. They didn't sell in the Etsy shop because a lot of people don't like lace weight. So I might ply them together and make something a little heavier that I could actually use for something. This is some that I hand dyed. This is actually my first attempt at hand dyeing. It doesn't show up real well, but it's yellow and blue. And I also discovered that these went together. I had made a hitchhiker shawl out of this years ago. And then I was putting it in this bin, and look at that. It goes with this, and it goes with this. So the 3 of them together could actually become something instead of leftovers. And let me show you. I have some cotton weight yarn. I have more cotton than I thought I did. These yarns here, this is discontinued. This is discontinued yarn here, and I have it in the gray. It's pretty, and it's very, very soft, but it's very snaggy. So I actually bought some of this. This is cheap yarn from China, but it's actually very nice. I think it's called Baby Love. You can get it off of eBay for a couple bucks. But it matches the color perfect, but it's a solid. So I've mixed them together. And I had some, here it is in the blue. This is what it looked like in the skein. And this is what it looks like when it's knitted up. Let me show you. There it is, knitted up. This was a pattern that I started several years ago, and I like it, and I put like little sparkly beads up top here, but it's way too small for me. It's actually a teal color. It's looking more blue, but it's a teal. So this is actually going to get ripped out and remade in a little bit wider, since I'm a little bit wider. But this is knit with the blue and then the solid that I put with it. So that's what it does look like knitted up. Here are some of my novelty yarns. I have this. This is a unique, it's got some silk in it. I saved the slip so I could remember because it doesn't have labels on it. I'll tell you what, sorry about the crinkling. This is called Fisa Kimini. Or Kimini. It's 40% cotton, 30% viscose, 30% linen. I thought it had silk. It does not have silk, and it has linen in it. It is a soft yarn, but it has an odd feel to it. But I'm actually going to make a pattern by Barbara Benson. She has a podcast called Watch Barbara Knit. This is the pattern. It's called There is Water at the Bottom of the Ocean. There's the back of it. And I just thought that this color in the kind of watery silver color would look pretty, and I actually bought some silver beads to go with it. So then I have this box over here that a lady at church gave me, and it's all baby yarn. Here's the shame of it though. She crocheted this, but it's only about half done. I can't match her tension, and I'm not a crocheter. But this has been sitting in a box for years from what she told me. It's white up top here, but you can, as it's not shown up on the camera, but in real life it's kind of gray color down in here. I just don't know if it can even be salvaged at this point. But this is all the yarn that goes to it. So I might end up, I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with this, with the crocheted, but this is the yarn that's left from it. So, yeah, that's baby yarn, although I don't plan on making any baby afghans or anything in any time soon, but that's what that is. And these are some cotton yarns over here. I am going to start working more with cotton over the winter time so I actually can wear stuff for the spring. And this is the yarn I showed last week that was the autumn colors. And this is the Knitology that I just got in the mail. This is a gradient that I bought that I'm going to do this shawl in. It's called the Ardent. So I'm going to do that. This is a sock weight. It's a sock blank. It's in like a light cream, and it goes out to a brown. It goes through some orange colors. I have no clue what I'm making out of it, but I wanted to try a sock blank, and that's the only one they had. This is from Query Fibers, and I got this from Love to Knit when I was there last year. Not this year, but last year when I was there. And these are some Painted Desert. This one might turn into something for my mother next year, or one of my daughter or my daughter-in-law. This one, I love the colors in this. It's like baby colors. And again, I might do the Ardent shawl with those patterns. That's what it was originally bought for. So, that is pretty much the yarn stash. Now, it's a matter of getting it all put away. I bought this on vacation. Sourball. Note the colors. This is actually a kind of emerald green. It looks blue in the lighting, but that is green. I also bought this on vacation. Yeah, there we go. This on vacation. This also, right here, is emerald green. When you put these two together, they're like the exact same colors. I don't know if it's going to show real well, but they are like exact. I couldn't have gotten any more exact. Two different companies, two different shops, same colorways. Oops. Alright, here we are. We're going to show the finished product. Here is the overall look of the room again. Here's my closet, minus the gift wrap falling in my face and attacking me. And here's what the closet looks like now. Up top up here is my fabric still. I didn't change this any. I just straightened it up. And my blocking boards and my tub of shame, which I'll put a drawers. This top one here I have now changed for my novelty yarn, and then the drawer here has the next bin down here has Etsy products it didn't sell, like stitch markers and things like that. And over here I have some stencils, and down below that I have some like gift cards and things like that. And over here I have some cross stitch patterns. Then moving down, I still have my embroidery, or not embroidery, I keep calling it embroidery, my doily yarns here. And sitting on top, right across here, my cross stitch fabric, or cross stitch threads over here. This bin down here is what I've put all of my upcoming projects in. So I will share that with you later as far as what my next and the project in those bins. Then down below there, you can't see it a whole lot, but right over here is my jewelry making supply. My quilt frame is still here, my quilting hoop, and the little pretzel bottles, if I can get the little pretzel container that had my leftover worsted weight yarn is still there. I just moved it in that little cupboard. And then those drawers just hold like sewing patterns and some leftover stamping supplies, just odds and ends. And then this blue bag here is what holds all my needles and just different, my tatting things, anything, crochet hooks, anything that has to do with textile stuff is over there. So that's the closet. And then over here, this is where I usually film. My camera actually sits, I open one of these drawers and the camera actually sits right in there. I know it's very technical, but that's what works. And so that's the fluorescent light you see glaring in my eyeballs. And so that is my sewing machine. My brother gave that to me about 30 years ago as a thank you for babysitting his son, who is my nephew. He's almost 30 years old now. So then looking over toward the bed, you'll see I've got some yarn sitting on the bed. That's for the podcast to talk about it on Saturday. I usually line up all the way across here, whatever I'm going to be talking about, because I don't have a desk in here. And sitting next to my sewing machine, these drawers right here, those hold just some sewing supplies like snaps and zippers and elastic, things like that. And the picture over here above the bed was in my grandmother's house. And when she passed away, I got the picture, and it just happened to match the room. This is a Afghan that I've shared on here before. It's a sampler Afghan. It's all different knitted blocks. I think there's 64 blocks total, and each one's different. Then moving over here, this basket contains all of my fibers for spinning. And the top shelf up here, if you can see this, this has a bunch of little sheep. I don't know light-wise whether you're going to be able to see it, but there's a bunch of little sheep. And then I have different knitting books and craft books and needlepoint books, all kinds of, and some crochet. Even though I don't crochet, I have books about it. Then looking at the shelf here, I put all of my lace weight in this bucket. And this was yarns that I know are going to go together, so any that I thought would match well, I stuck together here. Over here is fingering weight, sock weight type of thing, interchangeable. Down below here, this yarn that is all kind of stuffed in here on the cones, that's what I got at Peter Patch's last year. It is all sweater weight, and it's all 100% wool. So those are future sweater patterns or sweater projects. Then I have worsted weight over here. And this is more sock and fingering weight. This is cotton. This is going to be a like a t-shirt of some sort down the road eventually. So this is also fingering and sock weight. And then down below here, I just have some books. Let me get down here so you can see it. Down here I have some books, and you'll see my whole little flock of sheep and a doll. There's the one I made. This is the sheep I made that's knitting from her own fleece. And I used that for the 4-H fair. And then there's just some oddball yarns stuck in there. So that is my craft room and my stash. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm going to do my acquisitions now. This is like a spoiler alert. I did a knit crate unboxing earlier this week. I was going to put it on today's podcast, but I was like, I'm too excited to show it to you guys, so I didn't want to wait till Saturday to do that. And I knew that today's episode was going to be longer because of the craft room tour anyway. So if you don't want to see it if you don't want to see the yarn ahead of time and you want to watch the unboxing and then come back. Otherwise, I'm going to show it in just a second. So here goes. Ta-da! I am really happy with this yarn. It's pretty true to color. It's different. It's got some tonal purples. You can see there's some lighter purples like up in here, and then there's some dark purples right over in here. So it's got some tonal, but then it's not speckles, but it's definitely like fading into the gray. So it's not a speckled yarn, but it goes like from gray, and then over in this gray here, you can see there's just little teeny tidbits of the purple. And then here there's lots of it intermixed. So I'm real happy with this. This was a different knit crate box. The one I used to get was Knitology, and I think it was $33.95 a box. This one was $24.95 a box, and this one is apparently one of the ones that's really popular because I had to put my name in for it last month, and what happens is if they have some of the month left over, I would have gotten one for last month, but I kind of are on a real short waiting list till the following month because it was sold out. So I'm real happy with this one. This is, let me see, it is called Baneberry. That's the colorway. It's a superwash sock, 80% superwash wool, 20% nylon. It's a fingering weight. There's 400 yards per skein. So yeah, 800 yards I can do a lot with. And here's the funny thing. Remember Drachenfels I talked about? Yeah, it goes like, it is almost identical, the gray, and all of these little speckles go with this. Perfect. Hey, look at that. How funny is it? So actually, if I was to make my Drachenfels bigger, which I'm not, but if I was, all of the yarn would all go together. Like, perfect. So I thought that was funny. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. Like I said, it's very, very similar in color to the Drakenfels. So I'm not sure. I really don't know yet. It might end up as a gift because my mom likes purple too. So who knows? I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Let me show you some of the other acquisitions. Knit Crate was running a clear, or not Knit Crate. No, not even Knit Picks. Craftsy. I'll get it right. Craftsy was running a clearance sale the other day. As if I needed more yarn. But it was really cheap. I forget what I paid for it, but it was cheap. And I just dropped some. I bought 2 of these just for dyeing purposes. Dyeing of the yarn, not me. It is a Highland Sport Natural. And let's see, 200 yards. It is Cloudborne fibers. It is a sport weight. So in a 50-gram skein, there's 200 yards. So I have 2 of those to practice dyeing with. And then I bought this, which is also the Cloudborne. It's the same size, it's just a different color. And it's darker purple than what's showing up in the monitor. It is actually grape. It's a definite grape color, even though it kind of looks a little washed out in the color of it. So I can get it up real close. It has a pretty, it's definitely deeper. It's like a royal purple, I guess would be the color. But it's really pretty. And when I bought it, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to use it with. It just happened to be fairly cheap, but I thought I've got so many things in purple that I could put this as a kind of to add to something. And then I looked at, this was yarn I bought on vacation. If you remember, like on the video that I just finished showing you with the yarn, my yarn stash, I bought 2 with the same color. They're 2 different types of yarn, but the same exact color, same weight, everything. Apparently I'm drawn to these colors. But anyway, this purple here, it looks blue, but this is purple. It's almost identical to this purple. Very, very close. So I could mix this with this just to have a little bit of solid color. So I bought that, and then I bought this other thing. I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't. This is not yellow, okay? This is highlighter yellow. It looks like it's gold colored here, like straw colored. No, this is fluorescent yellow. I don't wear fluorescent yellow. I don't know what I was thinking when I ordered this. This is Madeline Tosh. It's called Ponytails. It is a hand-dyed yarn. It's called Edison Bulb. Think highlighter yellow and you got it. It's definitely right. It's just getting blown out from my lighting. But yeah, it's I can't even get it close. It just looks yellow here, but yeah, it's definitely that kind of bing highlighter yellow. Yeah, that's it. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what. No clue. I think it's going to end up in my cozy memory blanket. It might glow in the dark. I don't know. As bright as it is, there you go. I could find the blanket in the dark if I do it in this. I don't know what I was thinking when I ordered that. Anyway, then I started, you know, I work for a library and our Bookmobile is officially bit the dust. They didn't fix it this last time, so we are in the middle of dismantling all the materials that were on the vehicle, and they're getting sent to other branches within our system. And I will still have a job. I'm going to be doing something on one of the, our department has 2 other small little Bookmobiles, and I'm doing something with those, but I'm not quite sure exactly what I'm going to be doing, but I got a job. But anyway, as we dismantle it and we send materials to other places, the magazines, if they're older magazines, we're just withdrawing because nobody wants older magazines. So this one is from the spring of this year. This magazine started out being called, it's now called Craft Ideas. It started out being Pack of Fun. Then they changed the name to Craft and Things. I think it was called Crafts and Things. Then they changed it to Craft Ideas. And I saw the cover of this. and I had to bring it home to show you guys. This will be going back out to, like, when they withdraw older magazines like this, they send them to, like, some of the senior communities, stuff like that. They go to, like, nursing homes and things. So they don't just get, like, tossed out or anything. They get passed along. But I had to bring it home to show you guys. These are gotta think backwards here. These are crocheted fruits. I thought that was kind of cool. So, it has a pattern in here. I'm not going to make them because I'm not a big crocheter. But I thought they were kind of cute. They actually have, I think, a carrot. Let's see. Yes, there's even a carrot. So, I'm sure you can Google these and see the patterns for them. But what I saw on here that I wanted to show you guys, because I thought it was kind of neat and it was a decent price. Look at these yarns. They come in, it looks like a paint can, and there are 6 colors. It comes in 6 different choices. They only show 3 here. There's one that's called Beach, I think it was, that was really pretty colors. This is like different tones of blue, and I don't know what the other names are. Anyway, these are being sold by Fair Isle Yarn. If you do fairislayarn.com, I'll put this up here so you can see it right there. fairislayarn.com. They are $12.99 for the tub of yarn. Now they are acrylic. They are, I think, a worsted weight. It didn't really say, but it said you could use for knitting needles a US size 9 or a 5.5 millimeters. So that's like a worsted weight knitting needle size. Each of the yarn balls are 6 in one container. Each one is a 30-gram ball, and it has 52 yards. So altogether, you get 306 yards in one of these tubs for $12.99. So that's not bad at all. So I thought I would share that with you because I had not seen these before, and I know a lot of us like that Party of 5 that I bought on vacation. Those are, I think, 102 yards, and there's 5 of them in there. So it comes out to like 500 yards. So it is, you do get more yardage, and it's wool, but one of those is like, I think I paid $36 for that. So, you know, if you're looking for a cheaper alternative, but to still have these variegated yarn things, this is a definite option, and it's only $12.99. So, thought I would share that with you. And I also happened to get, when I got my Craftsy order in, I saw that they are running a sale right now. I think it runs through Christmas, where it's including free shipping. So I think you have to put a coupon code in that is holiday or holidays, something like that, and you get free shipping. So thought I would just kind of let you guys know about that because I thought that was a pretty good deal. I might have to go check that out again. I always hit the clearance rack. My kids used to say there was clearance printed on my forehead. My husband and my son and I were shopping. I mean, this was years ago. My son was a teenager at the time. And my son and my husband couldn't find me. And we're looking around the store, and my son tells my husband, "Look where the clearance rack is. It attracts Mom like a bug to a light." And sure enough, there I was. I was rummaging through the clearance section. So, yeah, I like cheap stuff. So anyway, let's get on to the exciting part. I won a giveaway this week. There is a yarn podcast, a knitting podcast called Saratoga Knits. I think it's Knitting by the Sea. And I think the lady's name is Lisa. I just started watching her like a couple of episodes ago because she lives in Marblehead, Massachusetts. And it's a pretty area. And I haven't been to Marblehead before, but I've gone up through Massachusetts, and it's along the coastline, and it's really pretty. So, yeah, I started watching her, and she lives in a house that was built in like the 1700s, and a lot of times she films sitting by her fireplace, or one of her videos she was actually walking along by the ocean. So it's just pretty, and she does a lot of knitting of shawls and things, and some color work and stuff. So Anyway, check her channel out. But she had a giveaway, and I just entered it. It was one of those where you leave a comment type of thing, and I won. So I actually won a project bag. So this will be the third project bag that I've won, and I don't have it yet. So it will be coming from the it's coming from England. I think Nottingham, England, somewhere around there. So when it comes in, I will share it with you guys and show you what I got. And I am now getting ready to pull up random.org so that I can put in our giveaway. Let me get this up real quick. Got my computer right down below me. Okay, here we go, random.org. Let me remind everybody what you're going to win, whichever one I happen to draw. It's the little stitch markers. We have this little guy and this little Christmas wreath and a little Christmas tree and a little cookie snowman. And then in addition to that, there are 2 of those point protector things that I showed you earlier. Okay, we had 12 people enter. So let me go in here and adjust that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to hit the button. The winner is number 2. It is Nikki Sayatovich. So I will put your name down below here. So Nikki, if you will send me a message either on Ravelry or you can private message me on YouTube itself, one of the 2, with your address, I will get that out to you. So thank you for everybody that tried and that placed an entry. And thank you for sticking with me for a full year with my podiversary. And hopefully we have another good year coming up. And I guess I will see you all next week. Thanks again. Have a wonderful week. Bye, guys.